Okay, welcome back to our live streaming of this event. We have with us the tournament with the All Africa Games Chess Tournament live coverage. We have only one game ongoing, and this is the game between Joseph Maigwa and the colleague. So well, let me see if we have live stream on. I just want to check to be sure that we are streaming live before we continue. I just want to be sure that our live stream is getting us to the right place where it's supposed to be, as opposed to yeah, so okay, so that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work at all. Alright, so let's go back to where do you want to go? You want to go to Facebook. Facebook. HM.com. Okay, welcome back to our live stream for the All African Games Chess Qualifiers Phase II. And my name is Dr. Victor Ngani, Kenya National Chess Champion, reporting to you from KCB Ruaraka. A very interesting tournament with a number of fantastic events. Again, Philip Singe has beaten Matthew Kanegeni. That is the highlight of, not highlight in a good way, but I mean the standout event, and it looked like an even endgame, but then somehow Philip Singe, who's a very, very strong player, multiple time chess Olympian, and consistent top performer of the last decade or so in chess in Kenya, beat Matthew Kanegeni in the second round. We had an interview earlier with former national champion Ben Nguku. Unfortunately, the audio in that sound was not on. Quite disappointment. I pray I'll be able to get him back here so that we can have that discussion again. He is indeed a great ambassador for chess, excellent work ethic in his place. He was telling us how he has used chess not just as a sport but in his own life, and there are many opportunities that come out of it. It was a fantastic interview. I pray we can get that done again. And so we want to look at this is the this is the game, and we'll just go through it very quickly. Hopefully, sometimes my computer freezes a little bit, so because live streaming is a resource-intensive kind of a setup, but hopefully we're able to get this done. The other thing we're able to do is have DGT integration. This tournament doesn't have DGT boards, and this is why we have to go through a fairly elaborate process. If we had DGT boards, then the live stream would have been much better. I know the local GM, Bran Kidula, who's the CEO of Terrain Chess Academy, would be able to assist us in that area, and we can take this up a notch. And so Moses Andio, Ben Nguku, we are looking at the Karokan defense and the advance. This is pretty much what most grandmasters play nowadays, c5. Now here there are remote possibilities of transposition to a French-like structure if white plays e6. However, I'm fairly certain that Ben Nguku would play the bishop out first before playing e6, so that you have a French structure with the problem piece being out of the way. The only thing is that black has played two moves, the two moves being c6 and then c5. It's not entirely bad, but I have a feeling that against a very strong opposition, this loss of an additional tempo could prove very, very difficult for a player, and certainly knight f3 is a move to consider. It's quite, it would be interesting to see what the concept will be like. I mean, what would come out of it. Then c3, that's also fine. Knight c6, then f4. Now this, I think, is not the most ideal setup already, because I have a feeling that bishop can come out immediately, and then you just have a French structure. And by the way, even with the bad bishop in the French defense, black still has, the French defense is still really hard to crack. You know, when you look at the commentators talking about the French defense in the Grand Chess Tour event, this is Grandmaster Robert Hess and one of the key people in chess.com, international master Danny Ranch. They mentioned, you know, the French loses, that is their policy, but that's not our experience here. The French is particularly hard to crack when played accurately, and that is with the bishop being bad on c8. Now in this position, that bishop can come out to f5, and that becomes a different story altogether. And indeed, that's exactly what black plays, Ben Guku being very strong. I see the big problem with that is that it's actually a pawn sacrifice, and I'm not sure the pawn can be gotten back. So in fact, this was actually a losing point. I'll ask Ben about this tomorrow, and maybe Robert Hess and then Danny Renshaw are perfectly fine, because a bishop to e5 immediately just pick the pawn. Okay, I'm looking at the evaluation, engine evaluation. You can see that right there. But then, I mean, it's so obvious. How do you get back that pawn? Because just pick the pawn, and how do you get back that pawn? That's just a free pawn, and there's just no way to get it back. From what I see, maybe the sacrifice is part of theory. I'm not aware of this. I don't play this particular line in the Caro-Kann. I'd be keen to find out what Ben has to say. We'll discuss this with him tomorrow when he comes in. Then the bishop to d3. That's just a bad move. Let me not say that, but it's not entirely an accurate move. This is the reason. Then, if you look at the black pawns, they're sitting on the dark squares, on b2, c3, d4, e5, and f4. And if you look at, that means that the pawns are covering the dark squares, and the bishop, the light squared bishop for white, is covering the light squares. On the other hand, you can see that black is going to play the pawn to b6, to e6. So his pawns are going to be sitting on the light squares. The bishop won't be entirely bad because he's sitting out of the pawn chain. But for white, exchanging off that bishop means that he has holes in his dark squares. And I have a feeling he'll pay dearly. The pawns are too far advanced, so there's nothing protecting those light squares. So here, the only move is basically pick the bishop, and Ben does exactly that. And basically, you are changing your problem piece for white's stronger bishop. This is, anyone watching chess, that small exchange is already an advantage in itself. It looks like a bishop for a bishop, but that's not what it is. In fact, a lot of stronger players win chess just because of understanding which piece is better than the other. And whereas white is white, having had the advantage already, you can say that black is having the better of it. Of course, white has a bigger space advantage on the king side and in the center. But where is the attack going to come? Normally, this allows you to have an attack, especially against h7. And a key attacker in this instance is normally the light square bishop, which has just been exchanged. And so it seems as if black can just have a problem-free develop some queenside initiative, castle, and I'm not very optimistic for white. So I think e6 is coming, the natural development. Knight f3 develop the piece, pretty straightforward. Now, this plan doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I'm not sure why black would play this, particularly because he had other fairly sensible moves just to play the knight out, then bishop comes out. I'm not sure, because the light square bishop is not there, so this further strengthening may not be necessary. It creates holes that I'm not sure are useful. And already I can see the exchange allowing, just bishop takes, I'm looking at the analysis again, but it makes perfect sense. C takes, D takes c5, bishop takes c5, and then bishop e3. And then if you pick on e3, then the weakness we are talking about on white's camp has been compensated by the weakness in black's camp, because now black will have the dark squared weaknesses if you exchange the dark squared bishop, and white will have exchanged his problem bishop. You can see right now the dark squared bishop sitting on c1 is blocked by all the pawns. So if it can get out, and that can happen through this move, if this bishop can get out, it can happen through this bishop takes, this takes, and now here if you exchange, then white no longer has that problem bishop, and you've lost your bishop that was defending your dark square. So essentially, this would not be a very good exchange. If on the other hand, you don't exchange, and you go back, say, to, and probably here the best move again is all the way to B. If you're trying to avoid the exchange you're talking about, all the way to F8, then you've just given white two free tempi, and I mean, you can't afford to do this. Okay, the position is a bit close, so it's not entirely losing, but those free tempi more than compensates. And now the bishop that was a problem piece now has a bit of breathing space as well. So this g6 move is a bit committal and probably not the most accurate. Maybe Andiwo would not feel very happy about not having chosen that line, but it's not immediately easy to see why that's a very bad move, but well, an inaccurate move. But that is what was played. White continued by castling, and then h5 again. Yeah, okay, there are not many counter chances for white on the king side. I think that prophylaxis is good, but I don't think it was there anyway, given that the bishop was already out. So here I'm a little concerned about a plan such as bishop e3, bishop f2, and then bishop h4. Again, let me just put that on the computer and see if it would have an impact. I'm assuming there'll be natural development. What will that be? You're probably planning to fianchetto your bishop or something, I'm not sure. Let's take the knight out. Okay, that's not possible because the pawn is hanging. So what do you do here? This is already a problem. Let's take knight to h6. Oh, actually the pawn is under attack. My goodness, this would be ridiculous, and you don't want to move your pawn to b6. So maybe you either push, and push is probably fine here. Okay, queen where? I'll just go with the computer suggestion. Maybe let me go back all the way to d1. Yeah, then knight to h6, and I'd imagine, let me see what will happen here. Let me see, knight, because the plan is, let's put out the bishop to e7. Yeah, that bishop doesn't look as bad as it did before, sitting on f2, and I'm not sure that plan was best. Instead, I have a feeling that in this position, black should just expand on the queen side, really, by simple, yeah, I mean, after knight there, just plan to expand on the queen side. I think this is really the most ideal plan that black would consider. This would be my suggestion, really. I'm not sure whether it's ideal or not. This is just what I feel would be. Again, moves like rook c8. I think a judicious pawn moves on the queen side to expand and gain more space, developing the two minor pieces well. But g6, well, all right. So castles, h5, bishop e3, takes. Okay, that does help a little bit. Knight h6, knight e2, and then let me stop this engine for a moment. Not bad play overall. Yeah. Okay, let me just take that back a little bit. The computer is lagging a little bit because of the broadcasting software, which is very heavy. Now here, the bishop is under attack, and white plays bishop e2, but I'm not sure that's a really good move, because in this position, I feel the knight on f5 is stronger than the bishop. As you can see, first thing first, we spoke about the weaknesses of the light squares because of the bishop that had been exchanged. The pawns are not defending the light square. So this knight has an excellent home. f5 is a beautiful home. e4 is a beautiful home. g4 is a beautiful home. And the pawns are just too advanced to defend those squares easily. And actually, you can see part of the reason why h5 was played was to ensure that when the knight gets to f5, then it cannot be challenged by a pawn. But I still feel this is inaccurate, because a knight can chase off that knight, really. And I have a feeling that perhaps instead of retreating the bishop, that knight may not want to exchange itself off for the bad bishop sitting on e3. So saving the bishop is not really an ideal move. And already there's a problem that will be faced. This is an interesting plan that was adopted by Black to move the king to f8. He'll explain this to us. I really don't get the full point, but also I think he wants to maintain the rook on the h file just in case opportunities arise on that side. Main opportunities will be on the queen side, I'm almost certain of it. a3. Okay, not bad. Stopping, taking control of the b square, b4 square. Queen d7. Okay, maybe queen b6 was better, with a greater prospect for the queen. Okay, but probably don't want to sit in front of your pawns. And yeah, just a moment. Let's see if we can force this to move a little faster. All right, there we go. Okay, so this is where we are. Yes, a simple plan, double on the C file. Okay. Whoa. B4. Now that looks tricky. B4. What happens? Bishop takes. Bishop takes. Two pieces for a rook and a bishop. Okay, this would be interesting. Basically, pick this. In essence, in this position, black would be giving out two pieces for a rook, but he has these two connected passed pawns on the queen side and this very strong knight here, and white has a bad bishop really. So this is interesting, but maybe not the easiest. Okay. The arbiter is notifying me that the games have ended. Maybe you can ask him what the results have been. Yeah. James, karibu sana.
Thank you.
All right. So, yeah, we were waiting for one last game that was going on. I have a feeling that Mego may have lost that game. I don't know, because I looked at the position. I wasn't quite optimistic for him. So, just a moment. We see as we bring into the frame just now. Okay, there we go. very briefly and see if we're able to run through the rest of this game as the arbiter gets first the results. Once he has them, then we'll just switch back to him right away, and that is just in about a second. And so again, in this position, doubling the rooks here, I have a feeling you could pick, but Ben Gu couldn't opt for that because he has a strategically better position, I think. B6, well, yeah, and this is what we're talking about, just a queenside expansion, and suddenly White will find defending that queenside not to be very easy, and I think this is just what's going to happen. And wow, this can be tough. I have a feeling if you pick, maybe the pawn will you bypass that pawn and play b5? I'm not sure. Attack the rook first, then bypass. Yeah, and that can be tricky, I think, because the b pawn can then become passed. Let's have a look at that just a moment. If we were to pick here, what happens? I think bishop takes a3. Yes, rook b1, and I think that can be tricky. Okay, bishop takes a5. Let's see what happens on this line, because this is what interests me. Let's move this to b1 and analyze from there, see what happens. And this is just better for White. He just picks, not even bypassing, just picks this, and it's just a free pawn. Yeah, so that's not possible really. So yeah, but the results for the day.
Okay, so in the round 2 we had a draw between Ben Guku and Jackson.
So played inaccurately in the opening. He had several better moves to have made.
Yeah.
So I emerged better after the opening, but he had better ways of playing it. So and he eventually gave me a fantastic position.
Yeah, you played the King's Gambit.
It turned out to be a King's Gambit eventually.
Which was quite an interesting thing. But then just around here, did you realize you can just take the pawn? I mean,
yes, I was ready for that. And most of these kind of positions, if black tries to hang on to that pawn, usually he lags behind in development.
But here he's already developed. So basically, all he has to do is play the knight out, and he will not avoid that move. And well, okay, maybe it's.
But my pieces are coming out very, very fast.
Very fast, and you can open file.
Yes, they're coming out very fast. In fact, in this position, I also considered playing h4. H4, but since I've already castled that side, maybe it's not wise at the moment.
Yeah, certainly.
Yes.
I have a feeling, but also G3 is another one to consider.
Also, G3 also crossed my mind. I thought about it, but I decided let me just continue with the weaknesses that I'm seeing on some of his light squares.
Yeah.
So I chose Queen to B3.
Okay.
I chose Queen B3 in this position.
They need to make a battery.
Yes.
But there's a bit of a storm coming to your king, yes?
I thought h5 was not really accurate for him. Yeah. So now he allows bishop c4. Bishop c4. Now we might have to, the f file might open up by force.
Yeah.
It may open up by force because each time I'm thinking of the sacrifice of knight times g5.
I was looking at this position and I thought, okay, fine. For sure, there are possibilities of opening up this file.
Yes.
But I'm seeing he hasn't castled that side.
Yes.
The only person who has castled king side is you.
Yes.
So in fact, opening up all those files, there's a small chance it may put you in greater danger than it would him.
Yeah, well, I was still banking on the fact that my pieces will come out faster than his.
Okay.
That's what I was banking on. So he played there, then I took the sacrifice now.
This was a spectacular sacrifice. I think many people. I've looked at it with the engine, I must confess.
Yes.
And it is not entirely right, though you get.
Yes, I've seen on the engine it claims like it's not really right. But
yes, but the reason why it's not right, in my opinion, is just the discussion we are having now about having.
That he's also developed.
No, not even the development. You see, the lines are now open.
Yes.
But it's opening on your king side.
So that, the G file, like, for example.
The G and F file is only black who can benefit from them. But let's have a look at this, because this was quite impressive what you did. I don't know how you get the guts to do something like that.
Yeah, I was planning it all along actually. So when I played Queen B3 and C4.
Piece for 3 pawns
and
opening of the file.
And activity, yes. And activity. Opening the F file.
Okay.
So he picked and then I picked. And he went to Queen G7. Then I picked on H6.
What would have happened if he picks the rook?
I'll still pick bishop times F7.
Bishop times, not rook times?
No, okay. Rook pick also was quite interesting. But my main issue here was I just wanted him to not to castle.
Yeah.
But rook times F7 actually is good.
Yeah. I'd imagine if this
it's actually good.
If this picks,
then rook times F7 actually is much better.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
Because I'm even picking another pawn.
And you're on the 7th rank.
Yes.
There's a bit of activity.
Yes.
And of course now you can't castle, because if he castles then the queen comes to F as you did.
Yes.
And I think checkmate is very hard to avoid in that situation.
And I think that's why he captured with the queen.
Yes.
That's why he captured with the queen.
Yes. So queen captures is what he did. Bishop takes.
Yes. He went to E7. He should have actually gone to D7. He went to E7 and then he invites my rook now on E1. He went to E7.
He went to E7?
Yes, he went to E7. He didn't go to D7. The engines are suggesting King D7, but he played E7.
Okay, we'll come back to that.
He played E7.
Because then the analysis online is wrong.
Okay.
I don't think it changes too much.
I've actually posted it on Facebook and WhatsApp a few minutes ago.
So did he play that move?
So far, yeah, he played that after my rook came to A1. He played that. Then I played E6.
E6.
Yes.
Okay.
E6. And he played H4, which I thought was not accurate. Now he gives me the chance to play Queen A4.
Yes, he's certainly made a mistake. And now here you're winning it.
Queen A4, yes. Because now I've got 2 threats, Queen A8 and pawn D5. And attacking the bishop.
And pawn D5.
Pawn D5, yes.
Attacking the
bishop, yes. And then if he goes to E5,
yes.
I'll pick the knight and there's mate coming on D7.
Wow.
So I had those twin threats.
So let's just have a look at that. So you're saying that if he does what?
If he now I'm threatening to play d5.
Yeah.
If he plays knight e5, I can pick.
So
I can pick with the rook.
So let's
and mate on d7.
Okay. So how does this stop this threat? There's actually no way to stop that threat.
He doesn't have any good.
Maybe if you were to try a move like this.
If he plays that,
then now you can enter your move that you had planned all along.
I could play now d5. Yes, I play d5. I could still play d5. I could still play d5. Where does the knight go? Let's see where he goes.
The knight has to go back to b8.
He has to go to b8.
Otherwise it's checkmate, isn't it?
Yes.
So
then I pick the bishop free.
The bishop is free.
Then I pick the bishop free.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's actually a very strong threat.
Yes.
But then he played.
Now he played
h3.
He played h3,
which is a losing move.
I actually went out before he played that move. When I came back and I saw h3, I thought for like about 20 seconds or 30. I didn't really look at queen d2 coming. I knew I have a very strong attack. And after playing g3, which was a blunder, and queen d7 just came in, I had a simple win, queen a8 check, and he's in a mating net. Plus I recover my piece, and he's still in a mating net. Yeah, so h3 was very wrong.
This actually is the key move is just this.
Just queen a8 check. Move, really. Must go there, then pick
this.
And I'm threatening mate.
This is a mate threat, and that's
and I'm picking a knight.
The only defense is this.
Yes, then I pick
the knight
still coming to
This is the threat.
Yeah.
And then bishop can come to e8.
Yes.
And now you are threatening.
Yes.
So this hallucination here that you pick here.
It was completely wrong.
And the only defense is to bring your queen here for a nice marriage check. And look at that. So basically this is mate enough, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Mukabi. It's been a tough first day. How do your second game go?
We drew the second game. I was actually winning. I picked a pawn early in the middle game, and I lost several chances to convert the game. I've posted it also a few minutes ago. I don't know whether you've seen it.
No, I've not yet, but
I've posted it on Facebook and WhatsApp. Yes.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, John. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about Chess Kenya, some of the events that you're practicing, you're planning, what's going on in the chess scene. Can people look forward to chess in Kenya? I mean, is there
February, especially now that February has come?
And maybe not even just the activities and events, even though that's important, but also just globally in terms of, is there progress strategically for chess in Africa and in Kenya and in the next couple of months to years? What are we seeing? What hope is there? If
the new FIDE president goes by the pledges that he came up with, it means that FIDE will start operating like FIFA, the world football body, where countries are always given some financing for infrastructure. And this is what we're expecting maybe from the new president of FIDE, and that should go a long way in developing chess, especially in schools.
Yes.
Especially in schools, that's where our emphasis is, and outside Nairobi, because chess has been in Nairobi concentrated in Nairobi for too long. Yes.
And any other initiatives locally, Chess Kenya, is it a positive approach that you can see?
Yes, in fact, ever since like 2 years back, the schools activities are growing by the day. In fact, the demand for coaches is so high that there is kind of a shortage of coaches. So we need to train more trainers, especially teachers. Teachers in schools, they're the best to introduce chess at the lower levels, because they are already teaching is their profession. This is what we are now looking at. Training. Yeah. Okay. Yes. So those are the activities that we're looking at, and then of course February, the February is the start of the regional qualifiers for the junior Kenya National Youth and Cadet Chess Championships in all the regions, February and March, and then we'll have the finals in April in Nyeri County. The winners in all the age categories in April will represent Kenya in international events for the rest of the year. Yes.
Okay. how would you rate the standard of chess amongst the current senior players and also amongst basically the current players crop of
most of the senior players, I would say most of the senior players, especially players over 35, they've tended to have stagnated at the moment. So we are seeing hope mostly in the younger players in their 20s, early 20s and mid 20s. That's where we are seeing hope of that. Of course, you're an exception. You're a national champion. you seem to be improving as time goes by. Most of us are actually stagnated.
Well, I must say mine was a miracle, really. I wouldn't want to say that is really the standard to go by. But I'm grateful for that opportunity.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm trying to figure out a way to show the viewers what the standings are. I'm having a bit of a problem with that, so maybe what I'll do is I'll just show them my whole display, and I hope it will be in order.
I could also open there, but
yeah, but we'll.
You're not getting the.
It's all right. We'll get this done. So yeah. So I'm taking a bit of time so that I can show you. Show everyone what we have. say our goodbyes. It's been real. This is a first test. Don't worry if it's been very rough around the edges. This is the first time that you're doing something like this. And we hope to bring you more. Right now we are doing both the technical aspects and the streaming. It's more or less a trial, and we are great. It's going to thank you for the support. Remember that you should subscribe, like, to support the channel, and we'll see if we can keep this going and promote chess in Kenya and in Africa. I've been your presenter, Dr. Victor Ngani, Kenya National Chess Champion 2018, and a big supporter of chess. Let's see how far we can get with this. May God bless you, and see you tomorrow. Out.